There's this cube sitting on the page and staring at me. It is one of the basic building blocks of so many different things. Let's practice drawing it in more complex configurations. The first one we're going to do is we're not going to make it into a cube. In fact, we're going to make a rectangle. Big rectangle. So we draw this flat surface again, just like we drew it up here. We take 3 vertical lines down, so 1, 2, 3, and we mimic this angle and direction of this line for this closing line down here, and then the same way for the bottom part here. So that closes it off. It looks a little bit more like a cereal box. It probably would need to be a little taller if we made it that. But instead of making it the same, because it looks kind of like bleak and austere, then let's add another one in. So we're going to travel down this line, and we're going to make it longer. And we're going to travel down this line, and we're going to make that longer too. So see, everything is kind of built on the same angles. So for this line, we're going to mimic that same direction and angle, and the direction and angle will be mimicked from this line over here. And then we're going to draw, copying this line here. So see, we have 1, 2, 3 lines, all going in the same direction, same angle. Then we're going to draw down, match it up at the bottom, and then one more vertical line, and we're going to close this off. Now, if you draw this line longer, because you were just drawing a straight vertical line, this one will chop it off at just the right proportion, so you can just erase whatever excess is left, because this line, just because of the angle and the way it's going to intercept this line, it will determine how long this is, so you don't really need to worry about if you didn't get the angle exactly. This looks pretty cool, but we could do a little bit more. What if we added another piece? Not quite, maybe not a cube, but we can add in another, like a rectangular piece in the back as well. So let's follow this line up. So see, now we kind of have this X on this very long vertical line. And we're going to copy this angle. And we're going to copy this angle. So now we see we have two sets of parallel lines here and here. So 2 sets. And then we're going to put a vertical line down. We can actually just follow that one. And then we can follow this line all the way up to make the 2 sides of the last rectangle. And then we're going to follow this line with this line, and then we're going to make a big X right here. Same directions. And then we just erase any extra line that we didn't need. A cube we know has 6 sides, but this drawing only shows us 3 sides. So what happens to the other 3? One of them is going to be the bottom of the cube, and then the other 2 are the opposing sides of these 2. We can just draw them in right here. So this line, remember how I said that these 2 are parallel and these 2 are parallel? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a parallel line, and that's going to be the other side of the bottom of the cube. So it's going to go over here. And then, of course, this side is going to be parallel on its opposite side. You're going to need your ruler. You're basically building a puzzle. The first move is the freest move, so we're just going to put a line. Just any random line. It's going to be an angle line. We are going to line our ruler back up with it and carefully drag our ruler back so that it preserves the angle in a new place. And then we're just going to draw the next line in. So I'm not going to use most of this line. I think I'm not going to use most of these. I'm probably going to like shear it off like about there, but it's okay. It's another free move. We just plop the ruler down at an angle. It just has to be in an angle, and we're going to cut it off right there. And then for the opposite side, remember, we're making parallel lines. So these two are parallel, so this one and then the hypothetical one we're about to draw right here has to be parallel as well. So we're going to line our ruler up with the one that we just drew, and we're going to carefully drag it back. And I'm running into my tape, so it's kind of making it a little offset, but there we go. So we have two sets of parallel lines making a parallelogram, and now we can start building our superstructure. I don't advise erasing these lines yet because they actually might prove helpful. I am going to draw a line directly down the center. So if I can line my ruler up and kind of eyeball it, it kind of looks like this is kind of the midpoint, and the angle follows the two parallel lines. Now we have three parallel lines. And we're going to try and do the same thing with these guys, except we're going to cut it into thirds, just to make life difficult. I'm going to drag it about here. And then we're going to here. We're going to move it up about there. So no math involved. You're just eyeballing it as carefully as you can without actually having to do any math. And again, I'm just extending these lines because they will all prove helpful in a second. Maybe except for these guys, but we'll see. Okay, so now we have a grid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's going to be the beginnings of our configuration, of our puzzle, I should say. Take your ruler and line it up with the edge of the page. This is a great way to get a vertical line, like a perfectly vertical line, right away. Now we're just going to slide it over to the bottommost corner of our superstructure. I'm going to draw straight down. So you can already kind of see the beginnings of a cube, especially if I just cover up this right here, you can already start seeing that there's a cube taking shape. And I'm gonna cut this off so it's gonna be more like maybe a bar of soap shape, like that. And so now we can erase these two lines just to see what's going on. So now you can see we're making a really big, flat, like a chocolate bar. I'm going to mimic this line over here at this corner, and I'm not gonna make it go long. I'm just going to draw it within its boundaries, because we don't need extra guidelines anymore. So you can start seeing that. The edge of a chocolate bar taking shape. We're not drawing a chocolate bar. I will add things to it, but for now, that's what it looks like to me. This line right here, we're going to line our ruler up, and we're going to drag down, and we're going to mimic it. Don't worry about how long it gets. It can go fly off the paper, and you can start drawing on your desk too, because we will just erase it later when we don't need it anymore. This corner right here is the end of the chocolate bar, so it's a short bar. It's like somebody's been eating it. Except we're not going to draw the teeth marks. We're going to draw a straight line down. So therefore we can now get rid of these. So you can see the chocolate bar taking shape. Now this is where we're going to diverge, and we're going to change it from being a chocolate bar. So I cannot call it that anymore. Now I have to refer to it as a superstructure, whatever weird word I come up with. So chop it off here so it starts being a little bit more segmented. Again, line up with the edge of your paper if you think you've lost control of the vertical lines. And we're now going to erase this and this. Let me just redraw this line so it doesn't look like it's disappearing. My pencil's too long, it keeps hitting the camera. Okay. So now we're going to we're going to start adding stuff in. Remember how we just started with this one and then we started putting extra stuff next to it? We're going to start putting the extra stuff. So I'm going to, because we have this long line right here, I'm going to add a little like jut off. And that means we're going to extend these lines right here. And we're going to create another cube shape underneath it. Like this. We didn't have to do any like measuring, 1 inch, 2 inch. This is actually on the centimeter side. Yeah, we didn't have to go, okay, this cube is going to be 1 inch by whatever it happens to be. We're just really just using the straight edge of the ruler and of the paper, and we don't need math to draw. Not even technical drawings. That goes for this bottom extension. Notice how we didn't have to draw the top. So see, we have a little bit of that invisible cube right now. See, starting to look very, very see-through. But we don't need that. But just so you can see, every single element of this superstructure is made out of the exact same cube. It's just we're starting to stack them next to each other, stack them under each other. They're starting to be next to each other. See, we only get to see 2 faces instead of the typical 1, 2, 3. Or this one, you only get to see 1 face of it. But that's because they're next to each other and starting to block each other. So it's kind of cool. Just keep noticing that every single component of this is just 1 cube next to another cube next to another cube. So now we're going to add another jut off right here. And this one's going to be interesting because we're not going down. We're going to go out to the side, meaning it's going to be coming in the front. But it's actually not really a problem because most of our guidelines are in. We're going to draw this line out, and we're going to stick our ruler onto this one, and we're going to draw this line out. So let me get this right. These are the points of the cube, and we're going to draw 2 lines out this way. So copying this line right here, I'm going to draw 1 out, and then we're going to copy this line right here. I'm going to draw the other one out. And then we're going to draw a 3rd one, but the 3rd one, which comes from this dot right here, as you see, we didn't get a freebie by tracing lines, so we got to make our own, which is okay because we're going to follow this line that we drew right here. Drag it down, draw straight out. I'm going to erase this, and this one right here. So we're going to also, as a consequence, erase that dot. Okay, I had too many lines going on, I couldn't see what was happening anymore. Now that I've cleaned that up, hopefully it's easier for you to see as well. I'm going to draw a vertical line. I'm going to try and make it cube shape, so I'll try to make it a bit more square. It's not perfectly square, but it's fine. And then I'm going to line up with this line right here, and I'm going to drag down until I hit that corner. So I went too far. I have to push it back up here. Now is the time to erase these before I confuse myself further. We have 2 more lines to draw to complete this front face. We're going to line it up with the edge of the paper, and we're going to push it out till we meet that corner right there, and we're going to line up with this line, or this line is fine, and we're going to drag it down until we see this corner emerge. I'm going to draw it straight up. Now the last element we're going to put in is going to be up here on the top. We're going to have it protruding off the top, going straight up. You see this parallelogram? That's the base of all of these cubes that we've been drawing. We're going to draw 4 vertical lines lined up with the paper edge. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 vertical lines. Let's see. I'm going to make this cube this tall. And I only need 1 dot. The rest of the measurements will follow. Line up right here. Push up until we meet. And then line up here. Push up till we meet that dot. And then continue pushing. Not that far. Until we meet this line right here. So, no, sorry. Not this line. Till we meet this line back here. So this one is no longer useful. It's confusing me, so I'm going to erase it. And then finally, line up, push, match it up. So we have this giant superstructure. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trace it in. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!